to finish Imam Ali and Fatimah al-Zahra, knowing how outspoken they were against Saqifa, what was the way to do it? Confiscate their property. Confiscate which property? Confiscate the property known as Fadak. Why confiscate Fadak? For what reason did they want to confiscate Fadak? On the one hand, economically speaking, you virtually kill any opportunity for them to rise economically. The date palms of Fadak, which is about 160 km from Medina, the date palms of Fadak are in similitude to the date palms of Kufa. People used to swear by the date palms of Iraq. Isn't that true? Until today, the land of Iraq has the most beautiful palm trees on earth. And the Arabs used to swear by their palm trees. And that land of Fadak, that was a piece of land that belonged to the Jews of Fadak. When Imam Ali alayhi salam achieved victory in the battle of Khaybar by defeating Marhab and his soldiers, when you achieve victory in war, in Islamic law, the booty can either be achieved through warfare or no warfare. Yes. Either I've achieved victory by riding horses and I've fought with swords, I bought shields, I bought my camels. If I achieve victory through warfare, then there is a certain amount of khums distribution that has to take place. Qur'an says in Surah 8 verse 41, وَعْلَمُوا أَنَّمَا غَنِمْتُم مِّن شَيْءٍ فَأَنَّ لِلَّهِ خُمُسَهُ وَلِلرَّسُولِ وَلِذِي الْقُرْبَى وَالْيَتَامَى etc. etc. 1/5 of what I acquire has to be given towards God, the Prophet, and then the rest could be shared amongst the soldiers. That's if I fought in a battle. When Imam Ali defeated the Jews of Khaybar, the Jews of Fadak were their neighbors. The Jews of Fadak said, listen, we ain't going to get involved with Abu Turab, nor his sword. You can have our land. The Prophet said, half of the land will still be yours and half will come to us. If a piece of land in Islam has been acquired without war, it doesn't fall under the category of khums, it falls under the category of fay'. Okay? Fay' is that piece of land which is acquired without any horses, fighting, cavalry. And the word derivative of fay' can be found in the Qur'an. وَمَا أَفَاءَ اللَّهَ عَلَى رَسُولِهِ مِنْهُمْ فَمَا أَوْجَفْتُمْ عَلَيْهِ مِنْ خَيْلٍ وَلَا رِكَابٍ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ يُسَلِّطُ عَلَى رَسُولِهِ مَن يَشَاءُ. You found here that this ayah mentions very clearly what? That which you acquire without fighting, without horses, without cavalry, falls under the category of fay' in Islamic economics. Fay', unlike khums, can be distributed as the Prophet wants to. With khums, there is a fifth towards a certain criteria of people. With fay', if Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa acquires that piece of land, then the Holy Prophet can distribute it as he likes. Khaybar took place 4 years before he died. Remember this point. Fadak is not inheritance. They made it a case of inheritance. Fadak, we have a qa'ida called qa'idat al-yad. Possession indicates ownership. If now I'm living in my house, okay, and you claim that it's yours, is it me who has to bring witnesses or you have to bring witnesses? I'm living in the house. You say it's yours. Who has to bring the witnesses, me or you? Possession indicates ownership. Unless you go and bring yours. Fatimah al-Zahra, that property, how did it come to her? The Prophet, because he acquired that property. What did the Prophet say? The Qur'an revealed the ayah according to Shia narrators. وَآتِ ذَا الْقُرْبَ حَقَّ. Give your near ones their haqq. He said in honor of Khadija and what she gave to Islam from her wealth, I'm going to give it to Fatimah al-Zahra alayhi salam, this piece of land. Because her mother gave so much wealth to the religion, the least we could do is give this to her. When it was given to her, it was given to her when? 7th year after Hijrah. The Prophet and what we're talking about right now is 4 years later. Therefore, Fadak on the first level for us is not inheritance. Fadak is that which already belongs to Fatimah. It belongs to her. All of a sudden, as soon as Saqifa happens, Fadak confiscated. A Fadak being confiscated is not a surprise. If I've got a man who wants to burn a house, what's a piece of land? As soon, and what I'm going to narrate to you right now is purely Bukhari. I won't go anywhere else. I'll narrate Sahih. Not because Sahih al-Bukhari is a hujjah on me. It's not. But for the non-Shia out there who are like, you guys just make up issues between Abu Bakr and Fatima, they all loved each other. No, I'm reading Sahih al-Bukhari, Kitab al-Maghazi, the chapter of the expeditions or the wars. On the section of Khaybar, I read that Fatima al-Zahra alayhi salam sent for someone to ensure that her fate was given to her. And that when that person was sent to Abu Bakr, this is exactly what's written in Sahih al-Bukhari. You can all go and search it online. Shia and non-Shia. Go and search it online and let your conscience speak to you. She sent somebody to make sure that that which is hers, the fate of Fadak, is with her. Abu Bakr had confiscated it. Abu Bakr said, the Prophet says that our property is not inherited. The Prophet, peace be upon him and his family, says, our property is not inherited. Rather, what we leave behind is sadaqah. And that is at the disposal of our family. So Abu Bakr refused to give Fadak to Fatima. You're the sole narrator of this hadith, which works wonderfully for him. The prophets, they say that the Prophet does what? The property is not inherited. I ask all of you a question. Very basic question. Everybody listening to me, wherever you are. In Islam, a lady can inherit or no? You all agree? And you all have cases where your marhumin pass away and there's a sister in the family and that is distributed. Why would there be a law for the Prophet and a law for everybody else on this issue? Why his daughter no and my daughter yes? Doesn't make any sense that everybody's son or daughter inherits except Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi. Does that make any sense? Why not? No, because prophets, we do not leave behind property as inheritance. Yani what, you just leave your family just to rot on the earth. You don't leave anything behind of that which you acquired. That's what Islam became. He said that the prophets do not leave behind property as inheritance. Okay? Rather, what we leave behind is sadaqah, and that may be at disposal of high. So Abu Bakr refused to give Fadak. Fatimah al-Zahra alayhi salam, her reaction is fundamental. Why? In one reaction, she will highlight whether she believes the government of the time is legitimate or illegitimate. Do we agree? Fatimah al-Zahra became angry with Abu Bakr. That's all we need to know. Even if I finished my majlis here, that's enough. Because on the day of judgment, her father is going to have to meet him and meet her. And she's going to say, I died angry with him. Fatimah al-Zahra became angry with Abu Bakr, kept away from him, and did not talk to him until she died. When she became angry with him, if we just sidestep from Bukhari for a moment, when she became angry with him, was it just a tantrum? There's a lady, emotional. You know, some people will say these things. Orientalists say Fatima is always in a bad mood and emotional and so on. When she became angry with him, you're saying that prophets don't leave behind inheritance. Let's look at the Qur'an, because Fatima is the walking Qur'an. Because Abu Bakr versus Fatima, if you were to look at it from the Sunni angle, it's non-ma'soom versus non-ma'soom. For us, it's non-ma'soom versus ma'sooma. You agree? In Sunni angle, even if there's a war of words between them, they're both not ma'soom. You have arguments. For us, no. There's a difference between when a fallible speaks against an infallible. A lady who was in the ayah of Kisa, innama yuridu. That for us is enough. She's been purified where no impurities come near her. She looked at him and she said to him, that you say that prophets don't leave behind inheritance? How about the ayah in the Qur'an? وَوَرِثَ سُلَيْمَانُ دَاوُودَ. Sulaiman inherited from Dawood. I thought prophets don't leave anything behind. How about the ayah about Yahya and Zakaria? هَبْلِي مِن لَدُنْكَ وَلِيًّا يَرِثُنِي وَيَرِثُ مِنْ آلِ يَعْقُوب. Yahya, Nabi Zakaria. Sorry, in the story even you find others in the Qur'an where they're saying, provide for me an heir. Someone who inherits from me, inherits from the family of Jacob. Then she says another ayah. Look at Fatimah al-Zahra alayhi salam. What's she showing us? Don't respect me just as a daughter who you imagine is like this young girl. I'm a Qur'an walking on earth. And my husband is greater than me. She said, have you not read the ayah in the Qur'an? كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمْ إِذَا حَضَرَ أَحَدَكُمُ الْمَوْتُ إِن تَرَكَ خَيْرًا الْوَصِيَّةُ لِلْوَالِدَيْنِ وَالْأَقْرَبِينَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. Have you not read the ayah of Abu Bakr in Surah 2 verse 180? Qur'an is the power of Islam. If the Muslims have memorized it, they're powerful. If the Muslims neglect it, know that they're miles away. كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمْ. It has been prescribed upon you that when death approaches you, if there is a certain amount of property or wealth left, you write a wasiyah to your near ones. Am I not the near one of Muhammad? Sallallahu alayhi wa. Am I not the nearest one? All these ayahs of the Qur'an. So Sulaiman can inherit David. Yahya can inherit Zakaria. The Qur'an told the whole of the Muslim world that they can inherit from their fathers. Or have you taken us back to Jahiliyyah? Because in Jahiliyyah, the ladies could not inherit. They were being inherited. Are we going back to Jahiliyyah now? Bukhari's hadith, what does it say? Fatima was angry with Abu Bakr. Clear in the hadith. She refused. And then she stayed away. And then after that, what happened? And then after that, the narration mentions she did not talk to him until she died. Bukhari continues interestingly. Who narrates this hadith? Aisha. Narration continues interestingly. She remained alive for 6 months after the Prophet died. This is in Bukhari. When she died, her husband, Imam Ali alayhi salam, this is in Bukhari, buried her alone. And did not inform Abu Bakr of the funeral. How many things can you pick out just from those 2 lines in Bukhari? How many things? Firstly, that this lady, the daughter of the Prophet, dies months after her father. Secondly, that Imam Ali alayhi salam does not want to inform Abu Bakr of what's taken place. If Imam Ali felt Abu Bakr is this pious, spiritual individual, then why not invite him to a janazah? I've seen people who are not the most religious in the world, but you'll still tell them, listen, tomorrow we're doing my father's janazah, may Allah bless his soul, it's at 10:30 at this cemetery. Please join us. Why Fatima doesn't want them to be at the funeral? Isn't that enough? That's when Fatima al-Zahra alayhi salam is saying, I don't want these to be at the funeral. And Bukhari himself admits Imam Ali did not inform Abu Bakr of the funeral of Fatima al-Zahra alayhi salam. What was it being mentioned here? Imam was making it very clear that for us, this situation indicates our rejection of the government, our rejection of these people. If now Imam Ali has rejected them, I ask in Sunni thought a question. Imam Ali alayhi salam's wife and him have blatantly not pledged allegiance. Do they remain Muslim or no? Of course, what's the argument that comes back? Later he pledged. After she died, he pledged. 6 months later, he pledged. Why? Why? Why would he wait to pledge? If this man is the most pious man and the leader of the Muslims, why would he wait until he pledges? What's interesting is when the hadith continues. The hadith continues that Imam Ali says, while Fatima was alive, people used to come towards me. When she died, they all left me. Very interesting. In Bukhari, this is not outside so that someone says this is in Shia literature. In Bukhari, he says that while Fatima was alive, people would come towards me. When Fatima died, they began to distance themselves more and more from me. Until Imam Ali says, the hadith in Bukhari says, he said, call for Abu Bakr, but let him come alone. He didn't want Umar to come. Why not? Why? If you want to call for Abu Bakr, because we believe that when Fatima al-Zahra died, that period, there was a sort of coming together of the caliphate with Imam Ali. But in Bukhari, Imam Ali says, only Abu Bakr comes to see me, nobody else. Umar doesn't come. Isn't that enough of an indication that Imam Ali alayhi salam has a major problem with Umar ibn al-Khattab and a major problem with the actions of Umar? And interestingly, later on, Umar does what he wants to do with Fadak. And later on, even you find the Umayyads themselves finding them with Fadak at their disposal. Everybody minting Fadak except Fatimah al-Zahra alayhi salam. Fatimah al-Zahra, as Imam Ali says in Nahj al-Balagha, me and Fatima, all that we had was what? Was Fadak. And even that, they took away from us. Therefore, when we come and see the conclusion of all of this, what is it? The conclusion of all of this is that Fatimah al-Zahra became the nemesis for that government. A clear nemesis. She is the one who stood up against that government, the one who blatantly wouldn't talk to them. If they say salam, she wouldn't reply to the salam. And I'll tell you something that's amazing. Go and see the ulama of the Sunni world in their explanation of this hadith in Bukhari. Because this hadith in Bukhari, Fatima says, I'm angry with Abu Bakr. I kept away from Abu Bakr. I refuse to talk to him till I die. I get buried without him being in the funeral. How do we explain it? The explanations are unbelievable. I've seen some contradictions in my time in the explanation. But explanations like, Abu Bakr, well, he was right because she doesn't deserve inheritance. But at the same time, she's the daughter of Rasulullah. And at the same time, you got to understand that, these things, and it got a bit emotional. But Imam Ali at the end was okay with everyone. Okay, but I'm not understanding what's going on here, because this lady's ended up dying from all of this. She's received death threats. Her house has been threatened to be burnt. First issue that emerges from this. In the Muslim world today, whenever you see us talk about these sensitive topics, as I've done in the last few nights, you'll always hear people saying, Imam Ali wouldn't have wanted us to talk about these things. Tell you what, his wife did. Imam Ali alayhi salam, you say he wouldn't have wanted the Muslims to talk about these things. His wife certainly caused the clamor. She wouldn't stop. Even while injured, she continued to speak out.